Have you ever actually wondered if AI is coming for your job? I mean, it's a question that's gone from, a quiet worry to basically a huge headline.
It really has.
So today we're taking a deep dive into exactly that. How artificial intelligence isn't just taking jobs, but really fundamentally transforming the global workforce.
Yeah, it's not just about roles disappearing, is it? It's more about this huge re-architecture of, well, what work even looks like and, frankly, who does it.
Exactly.
And for this deep dive, we've looked at some pretty comprehensive sources. We're talking analyses from places like winsolutions.org, Forbes.com, and McKinsey.
Some heavy hitters there.
Definitely. They give these really detailed perspectives on AI's impact on jobs, kind of cutting through the hype to give us a clearer, more data-driven picture. Yeah.
Right. So our mission today is to try and cut through all that noise, help you understand the real sort of tangible impact AI is having on jobs right now.
And spot the key trends.
Spot the trends, uncover some surprising insights maybe, and basically give you a clearer roadmap to navigate this evolving landscape without feeling totally overwhelmed. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
Okay, we've all heard the buzz, the hype around AI, but when you strip it all back, what's the actual scale of change we should be bracing for? Is this really the massive shift people say, or are we maybe overblowing it a bit?
Well, it's absolutely a seismic shift. I mean, the numbers we're seeing from these analyses are frankly staggering. Goldman Sachs, for instance, is warning that up to 300 million jobs globally.
300 million?
Yeah, 300 million jobs globally are potentially at risk because of this speed up in automation. And then you look at McKinsey, their projections are just as striking. They're suggesting that up to 60% of current jobs
Bro.
will need some kind of significant adaptation because of AI.
Okay, 60% needing adaptation. That's not just a small tweak, is it? That sounds like a complete overhaul for, well, most careers.
That's exactly it. And if we look specifically at, generative AI tools, things like ChatGPT,
Yeah.
that can create text or images from prompts,
Right.
they could potentially automate activities that currently take up maybe 70% of employees' time. So the key thing here isn't just jobs vanishing, it's how AI is fundamentally rewriting every job. Your role might stick around, but your day-to-day work,
Yeah.
that's probably on the verge of being radically redefined.
That really frames it as a fundamental transformation. What about the timeline? Are we talking decades away, or is this happening like much faster than people think?
Well, the analyses seem to agree that major shifts are expected between roughly 2025 and 2030.
So like now, basically.
Exactly. It's happening right now and speeding up fast. Now, some projections do go further out, maybe 2045 or 2050, for what they call full dominance of AI in the workforce. Goldman Sachs, for instance, estimates maybe 50% of jobs could be fully automated by 2045. Forbes points towards 80% by 2050, but that assumes innovation keeps up its pace. Yeah. We're also seeing warnings from big names in economics, like Ray Dalio, talking about a potential great deleveraging where AI pushes workers out faster than new jobs pop up, maybe within 2 decades. And Jamie Dimon at JPMorgan Chase, he estimates AI will dominate repetitive tasks within about 15 years. So while that full dominance might be further off, big changes are definitely on our immediate horizon.
It's clear AI is really taking hold, but beyond just, speed, what are the sort of less obvious reasons, the core drivers behind AI being so effective at taking over these tasks? Is there some hidden incentive for businesses, maybe?
That's a really good question because, yeah, it's definitely more than just speed. Our sources point to 3 main drivers. First, there's efficiency.
Okay.
AI chatbots, for example. One agent can handle way more customer interactions, right? So you need fewer people. And businesses love how scalable AI is once it's developed. The marginal cost drops dramatically.
So build it once, use it everywhere kind of thing.
Pretty much. Then there's the obvious one. Cost reduction. Automating tasks. That directly lowers payroll, operational expenses. Huge incentive for the bottom line.
Makes sense.
And maybe the most powerful driver is the combination of accuracy and speed. These AI models, they learn, they improve. They make predictions, decisions with really impressive precision.
Like in medicine.
Exactly. AI detecting diseases in scans, sometimes with greater precision than humans, catching things earlier. Or in finance, algorithms analyzing market data, executing trades faster than any person could. Machines are just incredibly good at processing massive amounts of data, finding patterns in seconds. Fewer mistakes, more consistency.
So it's that tireless, undistracted nature. AI just keeps going on repetitive tasks where, let's be honest, humans might slip up, get bored, or just need a coffee break.
Yeah.
But what about the flip side? Does that efficiency risk losing human intuition? or maybe creating vulnerabilities we don't even see yet.
That's a really important point, and definitely something we'll dig into when we talk about AI's limits. But for now, yeah, that relentless consistency. It's a huge game changer for structured, repetitive work.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for a lot of people listening. Let's dive into the specific jobs these analyses flag as most vulnerable. What roles are kind of first in line for AI to take on or maybe even replace completely?
Right, so what the reports suggest is that the prime candidates for automation are roles heavy on routine, repetitive tasks, and data processing. You see this across sectors like customer service, manufacturing, finance, transportation.
Okay.
These are areas where AI systems can just really efficiently process information, handle queries, operate machinery, that kind of thing.
So let's break it down sector by sector. What are some key examples? Maybe start with finance.
Sure. In finance, we're seeing roles like bank tellers, stock traders, loan officers being significantly impacted. I mean, ATMs and online banking already hit tellers hard, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And now, something like over 90% of stock trades
Mm.
executed by AI algorithms. AI is streamlining credit analysis, mortgage origination. The projection is for U.S. bank tellers to fall by about 15% by 2032. And
Mm.
some say over half of all finance tasks could be handled by AI by 2030.
Wow. So finance, which seems so complex on the surface, is actually quite vulnerable because it's so data-driven, so reliant on pattern recognition.
Precisely.
What about healthcare? That feels much more human-centric. How's AI impacting that?
Well, in healthcare, it's often more about specific tasks within jobs changing rather than whole professions vanishing overnight. Think radiologists, medical image analysts, medical transcriptionists.
Okay.
AI's pattern recognition is huge here, detecting cancers in scans, often earlier or more accurately doing that initial screening. There was one pathology AI model that hit 94% accuracy finding cancers across different types. It basically takes over the routine diagnostic legwork.
That's incredible accuracy.
It is. And then there are the administrative tasks, scheduling, billing, transcribing doctor's notes, all ripe for automation.
Okay, what about manufacturing and logistics? Big sectors.
Huge impact there. Roles like assembly line workers, quality inspectors, warehouse workers. Industrial robots are just letting factories produce much more with fewer people. You remember that Foxconn example?
Vaguely refresh my memory.
Major electronics maker. Back in 2016, they replaced 60,000 workers with robots in one factory.
60,000. Wow.
Yeah. AI-powered vision systems are taking over quality control checks. AI-guided robots are everywhere in warehouses. Amazon's a prime example. One study even suggested 77% of manufacturing jobs in China were potentially at risk.
That Foxconn number is just sobering. Really shows how fast things can change. What about jobs involving direct customer interaction?
Customer service is another big one. Think call center agents, support reps. The rise of chatbots, AI voice systems, it's undeniable.
We've all interacted with them.
Yes, exactly. Gartner predicted AI would handle 80% of routine customer service interactions by 2025. And we're seeing companies adopting AI, laying off, maybe a quarter of their customer service staff already. It's often the first line of defense for companies and also the first place AI can handle those common repetitive questions.
Makes sense. What about transportation? I always hear a lot about self-driving vehicles.
Definitely. In transportation, we're talking truck drivers, taxi drivers, delivery couriers. There's this massive push towards self-driving trucks and rideshare vehicles.
It feels like it's been just around the corner for a while, though.
It does, but the projections are still pretty stark. The International Transport Forum warns that automated trucks could cut driver demand by 50–70% by 2030.
That's huge.
It is. We're talking potentially up to 4.4 million trucking jobs globally becoming obsolete by then. Some estimates suggest 2–3 million driving jobs eliminated globally by the early 2030s. And that's before you even factor in delivery drones and robots for that last mile.
A really sobering outlook, especially for regions heavily reliant on trucking. What about professions we think of as needing really high skills, like, say, law?
Even the legal field is seeing shifts, particularly for roles like paralegals, legal clerks, document drafters. AI is getting very good at automating document review, legal research, even generating first drafts of contracts.
So the grunt work, essentially.
A lot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
AI can analyze massive numbers of documents in minutes, something that takes humans ages. A Fortune report even suggested a big chunk of junior Wall Street banking and legal jobs could be eliminated as AI takes over these prep tasks.
Okay. Marketing. That feels creative, maybe safer.
Not entirely. For marketing, roles like advertising media buyers, market research analysts, and even copywriters are feeling the impact. Programmatic advertising platforms automate a lot of media buying.
Right, the ads that follow you around the internet.
Exactly. And generative AI. It's now churning out marketing copy, product descriptions, social media posts. One survey found over 70% of marketers think AI can actually outperform humans in key tasks. And almost 60% are worried AI could replace their roles.
That's a high number of worried marketers.
Yeah.
Lastly, education.
Yeah, in education, we're looking at roles like teaching assistants, tutors, registrar office clerks. AI-powered tutoring programs are popping up, offering one-on-one help. Georgia Tech had that famous AI TA, Jill Watson.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that. The students didn't even know.
Didn't realize it was AI for quite a while. Plus, automated grading software, AI personalizing learning paths, these tools are becoming more common in schools.
That's an incredible range of jobs. It really drives home the sheer scale, doesn't it? Where jobs aren't just vanishing, but the tasks within them are being fundamentally reshaped. But, like you hinted earlier, it's not all about what AI can technically do, is it? Where do the sources say AI still hits a wall? Where are human strengths still absolutely essential?
You're absolutely right. That's so crucial to understand. And it's almost ironic, isn't it? As AI gets better at the hard skills, the technical stuff, it's the soft skills, the human skills that suddenly become the new hard skills, the premium skills.
Interesting way to put it.
Yeah. Our sources definitely highlight key human strengths that AI, well, just lacks, at least for now.
Like what?
Well, one big limitation is genuine understanding and common sense. AI is brilliant at spotting patterns, following rules it's been trained on. But step outside that training data. Ask for true originality or expect it to understand context like a human. It often stumbles. It doesn't really understand the world.
Okay, so it knows the rules, but not the why.
Sort of, yeah.
Hmm.
Second, and maybe this is the most important one, is emotional intelligence and empathy. AI just cannot replicate human warmth, comfort, or that ability to inspire. Think about jobs and healthcare, counseling, teaching.
Right.
That human touch, connecting emotionally, comforting someone who's anxious, inspiring a student who's struggling, that's irreplaceable by code.
Definitely. What else?
Complex judgment and nuanced decision-making. AI can pull up legal cases or crunch financial data incredibly fast, but a lawyer is still needed for strategic advice, negotiation, reading the room in court. AI lacks that ability to exercise judgment in really complex, ambiguous situations or understand subtle human motivations.
So the gray areas.
Exactly. We also see limits in true creativity and cultural context. Yes, generative AI can create content, text, images, music, but often it lacks genuine originality, cultural nuance, or that ability to evoke really deep human emotion. Human creators are still essential to refine, direct, give it that spark, that cultural relevance.
Makes sense. The AI might write a song, but maybe not the next anthem.
Perhaps. And finally, unpredictable environments are a huge challenge. Think about jobs like plumbing, construction, gardening, home caregiving.
Things that change every time.
Precisely. Every situation is slightly different. It's technically really hard and often just not cost-effective for robots to navigate that kind of variability compared to, say, a factory robot doing the exact same thing over and over.
Yeah.
And beyond these inherent limits, you've also got societal factors, regulatory hurdles slowing things down, public acceptance, ethical worries about AI bias, these black box algorithms.
Explain black box quickly.
Sure. It's when an AI's decision-making process is so complex, even its creators can't fully explain how it reached a specific conclusion. It's opaque, hard to understand, hard to challenge if it makes a mistake or shows bias.
Gotcha. That's definitely a concern.
Absolutely. And then there's just a strong preference for human interaction in critical moments, right? Calling 911, getting serious advice, we still want to talk to a person.
So putting that all together, what does it really mean for us? It sounds like in many jobs, AI is going to be more like a co-pilot, a tool automating parts of the work, but not necessarily the whole role. Augmentation, not just elimination.
That's a great way to put it. Augmentation is key.
And crucially, it's not all doom and gloom. This deep dive also points to a really powerful silver lining. AI isn't just taking away, it's actually a catalyst for innovation, for creating entirely new kinds of jobs.
Absolutely. That's a really important part of the picture. The World Economic Forum, for example, they actually project a net growth in jobs over the next 5 years. They predict something like 97 million new roles emerging.
97 million new roles.
Yeah, new roles specifically adapted to this new division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms.
Okay, so what kind of new jobs are we talking about?
Well, the most obvious growth area is in AI and machine learning specialists themselves. people building, training, and improving the AI systems.
Makes sense. The creators.
Right. Demand for AI researchers, engineers, data scientists, the WEF, sees like a 40% increase in these roles by 2027 alone.
Wow.
Then you have data analysts and big data specialists. AI runs on data, right?
Yeah.
So we need people who can gather it, clean it, organize it, interpret it. Roles for data analysts and scientists are expected to jump 30% or more by 2027.
So managing the fuel for the AI?
Exactly. And all these new systems, they need upkeep. So big demand for AI maintenance and robotics technicians. Think about that factory that replaced workers with robots.
They still need someone to fix the robots.
Precisely. They'll hire more mechatronics technicians, people who understand both the mechanical and electronic systems. These are often really good vocational or technical jobs.
Interesting. What else is emerging?
Well, as we grapple with the societal impact, we're seeing new roles for AI ethics and policy experts. People whose job it is to ensure AI is used responsibly, check for bias, navigate the regulations that are coming.
That feels really important.
It is. And then there's this really novel, fast-growing job title: prompt engineers and AI trainers.
Ah, the AI whisperers.
Kind of, yeah, the people who craft the perfect prompts to get generative AI to produce exactly what's needed. And also people who fine-tune the AI systems, train them to perform better, check the quality of the output. Accenture talks about totally new roles like linguistics experts and AI quality controllers popping up here.
Fascinating.
And maybe most importantly, as AI takes over more routine tasks, it frees up humans to focus on what we do best. So growth in roles that harness human uniqueness.
Like creativity, strategy.
Exactly. Creative jobs, strategic roles, and especially caregiving professions.
Right.
The WEF actually expects increasing demand for teachers, nurses, care workers, precisely because those jobs are hard to automate. And society will always need that human connection, maybe even more so in an automated world.
This is really fascinating stuff. It paints a picture not just of shrinkage, but of real evolution in the workforce. Entirely new forms of work emerging. It's about adaptation, new frontiers, not just things becoming obsolete.
That's the key takeaway, I think. Evolution, not just extinction.
But it does raise a huge question, doesn't it? How do we actually navigate this massive societal shift? How do we make sure the benefits of AI, all this productivity, get spread around broadly and don't just, benefit a select few?
That is truly the defining challenge of our era. The potential for large-scale job displacement and economic inequality is very real. I mean, history shows us technological revolutions always create winners and losers, especially in the short term. Some research suggests automation has already been a big factor in wage stagnation over the last few decades, maybe responsible for 50% to 70% of wage changes since 1980. That could really widen the gap between people with AI-ready skills and those without.
And what about communities?
Yeah, community disruption is a major concern, too. If jobs disappear in specific regions, think truck drivers in the Midwest, factory workers in certain towns, local economies, whole ways of life could be devastated.
Yeah.
The World Economic Forum even talked about a double disruption risk, with a pandemic hitting alongside this rapid AI adoption.
So, faced with these challenges, what do the sources suggest? What are the solutions, the strategies for preparing ourselves?
Okay, so for individuals, for you listening, the message is pretty clear. Reskilling and continuous learning. You have to keep learning. The careers that look most future-proof are those that involve working with AI or focusing on those areas AI just can't do well.
Like the human skills you mentioned.
Exactly. Developing key skills like digital literacy, analytical thinking, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, complex problem solving, creativity. These become absolutely paramount. You basically need to be ready and willing to pivot, to embrace new roles or new ways of working.
What about businesses? What's their role?
For businesses, it's about responsible AI adoption, finding that balance between automation and human workers, and crucially, investing in retraining their own employees, trying to redeploy staff into new roles rather than just resorting to layoffs immediately.
And the big one, governments and policymakers.
Yeah, their responsibility is immense. They need to foster robust economic growth generally to create the conditions for new jobs to emerge. They need to scale up retraining programs massively, think something on the scale of a Marshall Plan for workforce skills.
A huge undertaking.
Huge. They also need to improve labor market dynamism, make it easier for people to move between jobs and industries. And finally, provide income and transition support. That could mean strengthening unemployment insurance or even exploring more radical ideas like universal basic income. It really requires proactive intervention to manage the transition and ensure it's reasonably fair.
So, wrapping this all up, what does this deep dive really mean for your career, for everyone listening, and just for the future of work itself?
I think the core message that comes through from all these sources is pretty clear. AI isn't just about replacing jobs. It's about fundamentally transforming work. It's definitely a powerful double-edged sword, isn't it?
It really seems that way.
Yeah, offering huge potential for productivity and innovation on one side, but also bringing significant disruption and uncertainty on the other. The goal for all of us individuals, companies, governments, has to be figuring out how we leverage AI's amazing strengths while actively mitigating the downsides, the risks.
Finding that balance.
Finding that balance. And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Imagine a future where AI genuinely does handle most of the mundane, the repetitive tasks, freeing up human potential to focus more on creativity, complex strategy, human connection, compassion. How would that kind of future reshape your own idea of what a meaningful career looks like? And maybe more importantly, what role would you choose to play in that kind of elevated workforce?